This is Optimal Finance Daily, episode 805, What It's Like to Shop After Not Shopping for 2 Years, Part 2, by Cait Flanders of CaitFlanders.com. And I am your host and narrator of the show. I bring you some of the best personal finance blogs on the planet in audio form each and every weekday. And if you've got some ideas for us, maybe you've got a topic request, something you'd like to hear me cover here on the show, please visit oldpodcast.com and share those ideas with us. Now, today's post is actually a continuation from yesterday, so if you are new here or if you're jumping around a little bit, it would be best to listen to yesterday's episode first. That's episode 804. But if you're all caught up and ready to go, let's hear part 2 from Cait as we continue optimizing your life. What It's Like to Shop After Not Shopping for 2 Years, Part 2, by Cait Flanders of CaitFlanders.com. Unfortunately, even though I avoid visiting online stores, I still see ads all over the internet. The trick is to look past them, and that's also easy after lots of practice. I think the one thing that still gets me is seeing friends share pictures of the books they've read or loved on social media. I always add those to my want-to-read list, but I don't feel bad about that. As a writer, you should read a lot, especially in the same genre you want to write books in. What I have changed is my habit of buying books the minute I hear about them. That doesn't happen anymore. I only buy a book when I know I'm going to read it right away, and only if my library doesn't have it. I'm also really good at decluttering my want-to-read list, which is a lot cheaper when it's just a title written in a notebook versus an actual book that I paid money for only to let it collect dust on my shelf. So those are some of my general thoughts on what shopping looks and feels like now, nearly 4 years after I started this journey to become a more mindful consumer. I've realized shopping could be swapped for the word browsing and removed that from my list of hobbies. I don't go into physical stores unless I absolutely have to buy something. And I only visit online stores for the same reason. It's never to browse, it's always to buy a specific item. If I could sum up what the shopping ban did for my actual shopping habits, I would say that it was this. It taught me how to take the emotion out of it, so shopping is strictly a transaction now, as it should be. The reason I added as it should be is because I want to make sure that when we talk about shopping bans, we acknowledge that we still have to buy things sometimes. And that's okay. We don't need to add more shame around buying stuff or spending money. There's enough of that elsewhere in the world. And holy moly, has there been a lot of it during this press tour. So buy your stuff. I don't care. I want to be really, truly, and crystal clear on this. Buying stuff isn't bad, and spending money isn't bad. So you are allowed to buy stuff and spend your money on whatever you want. I have just learned that it feels so much better to only buy stuff when you're actually going to use it, because the value of an object comes out when we actually use it, not simply because we own it. And that is how I shop now. Since the shopping ban ended in July 2016, I've bought lots of stuff. Are you shocked? Don't be. That's life. I bought some camping gear, a couple backpacks, snowshoes, and poles. When I moved, I bought a new couch and rug for my living room, but I'm still living without a coffee table. I also bought a coat rack and then got all the parts and put together an awesome DIY stand-up desk. I've bought lots of books too, and I've even bought a few candles along with an essential oil diffuser. The difference between the way I used to shop and the way I shopped for these things is that now I wait until I have genuinely felt the need for it. And I'm a firm believer that something you want is also a need if it fits in your budget. So I have learned to live without things, and then when I'm done living without it, I buy it. No questions asked, no shame. I just buy it and start using it. So what does living without it look like? Well, sometimes it means living without a couch for 3 months or a desk for 6 months while figuring out what you really need and want. Other times it means living in a new home for 4 months and eventually seeing that it's not set up to give you easy access to a front closet, but a coat rack would help you get your wet rain jacket off the floor. And I just realized I haven't said anything about clothing. In the past year, I have bought exactly 5 pieces of it, and only 2 were for regular daily life, a sweater plus new hiking shoes. The other 3 were for a wedding and something to wear for TV interviews and book tour stuff. So to this end, I don't stockpile or buy multiples of anything. I simply buy what I need when I need it. The beautiful thing about the way I shop now is that I genuinely appreciate all of the things I buy. It was really easy for me to write that list of things I've purchased since the shopping ban ended because I can look around my home and see everything. And that's because I use them regularly and I'm grateful for what they do for me or for what they help me do. Old me didn't appreciate most of the things I bought because I did so for all the wrong reasons. The most common mistake was that I used to buy things for a more aspirational version of myself, but then never used them because the real me didn't want to. In waiting to feel the need for an object, I know it's something worth buying, and when I have the money, the real me buys it and uses it. There are no justifications and no shame. I just buy it and use it. Transaction complete. You just listened to part 2 of the post titled What It's Like to Shop After Not Shopping for 2 Years by Cait Flanders of CaitFlanders.com. And that does it for episode 805 here at Optimal Finance Daily. Hope you enjoyed our episode today and all week long, and thanks so much for listening each and every day. I will, of course, be back with you next week for more great posts, so I'll see you there where your optimal life awaits.